ax plus by equals 12, 2x plus 8y equals 60. In the system of equations above, a and b are constants. If the system has infinitely many solutions, what is the value of a over b? If you're not familiar with this kind of questions, you may be slightly thrown off by this infinitely many solutions question. Well, let's slow down and let's go back. We're provided two equations. Both of them describe two different lines. And the two lines, they actually have only three possible interactions with each other. One is crossing lines, which means at some point these lines intersect. You may not see it on the graph, but if they're not parallel to each other, they will ultimately intersect. The second one, as I just mentioned, is the situation of parallel lines, where the two lines, they run alongside each other and they just never cross. And finally, third position is when a certain line is on top of another line, which means they are described by the same formula and they run alongside. Our solution in case of two lines is where they share points. So in the case of crossing lines, the solution would be the point of crossing, where one point describes both lines and it is the solution. In the case of parallel lines, we'll not have any solutions because they just never cross. And in the case of two lines where they're described by the same formula and they run on top of each other, they cross all the time. So basically every dot describing one line also describes another line. It only makes sense that such a setup where every point belongs to both lines would have infinitely many solutions. And this is exactly the kind of situation we should assume for our two equations provided. Now that we know that both of our equations are equal to each other, we can see that the one below is 5 times the equation above. And the reason we know it is that the one below equals to 60, and that's 5 times of 12. This would also mean that 2x plus 8y is 5 times of what ax plus by is. And more specifically, 8 is 5 times more than b, and 2 is 5 times more than a. Let's start with a. If 5a equals 2, as we observed that a is 5 times less than 2, then we can go to the next step and use our manipulation knowledge. To isolate a, we'll divide both sides by 5. A equals 2 over 5. We also know that b times 5 would equal 8, because 8 is 5 times more than b. And using the same isolation technique, we will divide by 5 both sides. B equals 8 over 5. To answer the question, we need to find the value of a over b. Let's set it up. A equals 2 over 5 divided by 8 over 5, which is the value of b. When we deal with fractions, the way we divide them is by multiplying and flipping the second fraction. So what we get is 2 over 5 times 5 over 8. We can simplify and cancel 5, both the numerator and denominator. And as a result, we have 2 over 8. We can take it one step further, divide both sides by 2. And our answer is 1 over 4.